Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Michael from Mickey Lens Media. Today we'll be looking at frequency separation in Photoshop. So what is frequency separation? The term frequency separation in photography simply means that you're separating your image into two frequencies, the high frequency and the low frequency. Now the high frequency typically contains the textures and the blemishes and the likes, and the low layer contains the colors of the image and then the tonal variation basically of the image. So the question is, how do we create this frequency separation? Let's zoom into this image a little bit. So in order to create our frequency separation, first I'm sure you'll be wondering why this image looks a little bit clean. That's because I've actually healed the skin a little bit by removing some pimples. As you can see, here is before and this is after, and here is before and this is after. But for this particular video, we're actually trying to keep our focus on frequency separation, which is what I'm about to do now. So without no further ado, let's dive into this, right? But first I would like to merge this entire image by hitting Ctrl Shift E. So we have just the background, we have just the background layer right here. So in order to create a frequency separation, all we have to do is hit Ctrl J twice to duplicate this 2 times, or you can just drag it to this plus icon right here. See, it creates another one, but we will not be needing that, so let's just take that out for a second, right? So now we are going to turn off the visibility of the upper layer and then come to the down layer. Now okay, let's just name this the color layer. Okay, let's say color, and then this up one to be texture, right? Okay, so now for the color layer, all we have to do is come to filter, blur, and then Gaussian blur. Right now for the Gaussian blur, basically I can't really give you like a radius to use because it's going to vary from image to image, because the camera you're using, the lens and the light and all plays a very huge role in how much texture and all is going to be on your subject, right? So basically let's just see how we can talk ourselves through how to select the best radius for the particular image. You see, if I take it down to 0.1, it's clear, right? There's no blur to it. But if we increase it to a very high number, see, it's totally messy and it's too blurred out, and this is not what we're looking for. So let's just come. So basically what we want to do is try to see how we can take this up to a point where we can't actually see textures anymore, and that's totally fine, right? So let's just come up a little bit. I think for this particular image I showed you a while back. So and then okay, so let's say, okay, I think 4 is enough. I can't really see the textures anymore. Let's take it up a little bit. Let's do 4.5. Okay, I think this is fair. I can't really see the textures no more, but then the colors are totally fine, right? So now basically what we have done is we have tried to eliminate the textures on this layer, but then the color and the tonal variations of this particular image, everything is still intact, right? Now if we have removed that, if we have subtract that from the texture layer, what do we have on this upper layer? Right now let's turn on the visibility of the upper layer. Now you see we have everything in there, but what we want is to subtract the colors from here and limit that to the low layer here, which is our color layer. Right now let's move up to the texture layer. Now we want here to just have the textures and not the colors as we are seeing here, right? Now how do we do that? Now, since let's say our cursor is here on the texture layer, that means that's the layer we're working on at the moment. So we have to come to image, apply image, and right here you see it says merge. Now we don't want it to be merged, we want to subtract the colors. We want to subtract the colors from this particular layer, right, from the texture layer here. So we come down and see color, right, which is our color layer right here, so don't get confused, guys. All right, so now you see our blending option here. So we want to blend this, right? Now we change it from there, and then we take it to subtract, right? So if we hit subtract, we're going to have our scale. Let our scale be 2, and then our offset to be 128. I didn't figure this out, I just got this from the internet, and then working with it, and so far it has been fine. You can try to see how you can figure it out yourself. It's still to be fine, right? All right, so this is what we have, right? It's looking kind of gray right now. We can see that we have lots of textures in here, but we don't have the colors, right? So we come to our blending option here, and then we change it from normal to say linear light, right? So now if we have this linear light, so now we have actually removed our textures from here, and then keep our texture here, and then bring down our color right here, right? So basically we have two frequencies. These two frequencies coming together make a whole image, right? That's the point. So if we let's select these two and hit Ctrl G to group them. So let's name this FS, as if to say frequency separation. Yeah. All right, so let's open this back up. So if we hit this and then we toggle this off, the image is as it were like nothing happened, and then when we turn this back on, the image is still like that, like nothing happened, right? That's because these two layers coming together make a whole layer. So if we actually do create a stamp visible layer here, we are going to see that the image is still stuck. There's nothing changed. But if we turn off the texture layer, right, all we are going to be left with is going to be our color layer, which is our blurred layer, right? And if we turn this back on and then we turn this off, you see all we have is really textured, and then if you see the image properly, you see that it's over textured and it's not looking right. But the two layers coming together actually help to form the complete layer, right? Does that make sense? All right, so basically that's just how it works, right? So now what we can do is, in order to work non-destructively such that when we make a mistake we can just easily delete that and then not have to go through this entire process again, what we can do is we'll just come hit Ctrl J again, Ctrl J, and duplicate the layer, right? So now you can just right click on this layer and then create clipping mask, right? Just so when we're working with our mixer brush tool from here, right, a mixer brush tool from here, and then using our left and right bracket keys, we can increase or decrease the brush size, right? Now if we actually make a mistake and then we can't really go back, or something went wrong and we can't really do this, all we need to do is just come here and delete it, right? And voila, that's gone. And then we just have to hit Ctrl J again to duplicate it again, and then right click and create clipping mask. So we don't really have to go through the entire process again. That's the point, right? So now that we're here, well, let's go back to our mixer brush tool. So our mixer brush tool, now what I like to do is I like to keep my weight at 30, my load at 30, my mix at 60, and my flow at 30, and then my smoothing I keep it at 3%, right? Now this whole figures right here, some way somehow I've been using different ones, and then these are actually nice to me, and so many other photographers, so many other tutorials, they have different settings. It's totally fine, you just mess around with it. However works for you is better, just do with it, right? So some photographers give tutorials and then they're using graphics tablet, some are not, and all of those things are like factors to the settings you'll be using. I am using a graphics tablet which has pen pressure, so and then it all depends on how much pressure I want to apply on my graphics tablet, right? So all of these things come together to make you choose your settings, right? I'm using a graphics tablet and I don't really like to apply so much pressure, so I tend to leave my wet at 30, my load at 30, which is pretty high. So my mix at 60 to help blend everything all out, and then my flow at 30, simply because I don't like to put so much pressure. I could go down if I want to be applying so much pressure, but then I retouch lots of images and I don't want to get tired and all of those things, right? So however works for you is totally fine. So it's subject to whomever is doing it at the time, right? And how much pressure you're applying. And then if you're not using that, if you're using the mouse or your trackpad from your laptop or something, so those don't have pressure sensitivity, so you might want to take these figures down a little bit, right? So but then all in all is you just walk around with it and see how best it will help you get the best result, right? So that being said, let's quickly dive into this. So basically what we're going to do right now is try to see how we can just soften this particular image. So for the part where it's really highlighted, we try to see how we can blend it, and then the parts that are shadowed, we tend to increase our brush sizes with our left and right bracket keys to either increase or decrease as we walk through. That being said, basically what I like to also do here is I like to create a black and white layer right here, and then I probably just darken it up a little bit by reducing my reds, right? And then also my yellows, right? Alright, so this is too dark. Let me take it up a little bit more. Right, so basically that's what I do. So it's just an adjustment layer, really. It doesn't really affect the entire image, but once I'm done I could easily just take it out or just leave it, right? So basically I like to use it as a guide to help blend out and even out skin tones and all, right? So that is it, really. So basically what we are going to be doing is, so please guys, try to remember to keep sample all layers checked off, because if we check that on and we work, see how messy it's looking, right? And we don't really want that. Really. So because it's going to be affecting the entire image, so we are saying that you keep sample all layers checked off, right? Just so whatever you're doing is just affecting that particular layer, since we have actually separated the textures, the colors and all into different layers, right? That's so much information that's going in there, but guys, please just try to follow along. I'm sure you'll find your feet gradually, right? All right, so basically what we are going to be doing is we are going to be increasing and decreasing our brush sizes to match where we're working on at the moment, right? So that's what we're doing. So basically just try to see how you can take your time with this process. I'm going to be a little fast just because I don't want to keep the video too long. Increase and decrease the brush size, like I said, to actually fit into the area you're working on at the time. So basically that's that. For the parts that are too dark, I'll probably just leave it, and then when I'm coming back with it, I'll just turn off my what's it called, my black and white adjustment layer, and then I'll see what's there and I'll work with it the same way it is, right? So basically that's how we're going to be going about with it. So let's say we come here and turn off our black and white adjustment layer. So now these are before and these are after, these are before and these are after. You see, we've actually blended this particular image a great deal. Now we're not done. See the parts where we've not really done nothing. See, yeah, so that's how we are going to be working on it, right? Gradually, just take your time with this process and you're sure to get a beautiful result at the end of the day. Practice, 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 and you can only be better. Practice don't hurt nobody. Don't hurt nobody. You just have to edit pictures. In order to get better, you just have to keep editing. Never stop for no reason, except it's not what you want to do. But if it is what you want to do, you just gotta keep at it. It might get crazy sometimes, but you get used to it, and then you find your feet, and some way somehow you work your way up the ladder, right? So that's how it works. So I just hope you're learning a thing or two. And if you're learning, just try to hit the subscribe button and just hit the notification bell, because I'll be dropping one videos every week, and hopefully you get something you can learn from and use it to better yourself as a photographer, right? Alright, so basically as it, really just try to see how you can work your way. For the parts that are shadowed, you keep it there, and then the parts that are highlighted, you keep it there. Try not to just mix everything up and mess with it, because this gives you like a great deal of advantage, because it prepares you before going in with your dodge and burn, right? Which I am going to do a complete tutorial for by next week. I hope you stay with me and see how we can work our way up. So these are before and these are after, these are before and these are after. So basically that's just it, really. And if you think you've done too much, you could easily just go to your opacity and drop it down. I'll show you guys that in a bit. So I'm just trying to see how at least we can just get this over with, and you pretty much get the hang of it, right? That's the point. So try to see how you can make this image perfect. This helps to smoothen out and soften out the image, right? So if you think that some way somehow you've done too much, you just come to your opacity right here and then you reduce it. Yeah, because some way somehow for every time I work, I try to reduce it to a certain level, just so the original image still bleed out a little bit, right? Yeah, these are before and these are after, these are before and these are after. I hope you have learned one or two things from here, and once you're at this level, you could easily just delete your black and white adjustment layer, because you don't really need it right now. So basically these are before and these are after. Guys, I hope you have learned a thing or two, and if you have, please consider subscribing to my channel and help us grow and see how we can make more